Hi everybody, it's Az here from Heel vs Babyface with the third boss in the Raid Finder Throne of Thunder encounter, and this one is called the Council of Elders. We've already seen my videos for Jinrock and Horridon. If you haven't seen them, go watch them. And this fight is the third and the final fight of this wing, and they're calling this the last stand of the Zandalari, which is actually a big fat lie. Because there was a dev chat recently, and one of the devs said, "Ha ha ha, this isn't the last you're going to see of the Zandalari." Really? Because this is actually meant to be their last stand. So, is this the penultimate stand of the Zandalari? Or it's just a stand of the Zandalari, because they may come back a few more times. We don't know yet. We've yet to think about that at all. But whichever way, it's not the last stand of the Zandalari. We're going to see these guys again, whether it be in Mists of Pandaria or the next X-Pack or whatever it's going to be. It's just a big fat fib. So anywho, it promotes a bit of "oh" in the title and all that kind of jazz, but never mind. Now then, I normally start my videos straight away at the boss, go into the abilities, maybe throw a few jibes here and there like I did with the last stand of the Zandalari being pedantic. But today, I'm showing you the trash. So why am I showing you the trash? And yes, there's a stupid warlock with a green flail flame. I hate him! I haven't even found the bloody item yet. Never mind had a chance to try and even get the green flail flame, which I couldn't do on the PTR. Yes, you saw me with it, but that's only because the boss bugged, didn't fight back, and I just stood there for 5 minutes battering him until the quest was done. There you go, little secrets being let into here. But does this environment look familiar at all? This is why I've started the video here. Have a look around. Do you see anything which rings a bell? Ding-a-ling-a-ling. Well, anyone that's been questing on the Isle of the Thunder King, which they've now called the Isle of Thunder, which is what its original name was, then they changed it to the Isle of Thunder King, and then when it was released they changed it back to the Isle of Thunder. Ay, chihuahua! Yeah, you'll know that this area is the area which you run the Troves of the Thunder King scenario. Yeah, some of you are just going, oh yeah, yay, you see? So you would have started back off in the corridor that I began the video at. You then charge through. This is the first room. I personally just spend all 5 minutes here, running through as best as possible, trying to loot as many chests. I've even improved upon the loot run video, which I did a little while back on the PTR. So there's a possibility, should you want to see it, of me doing a new fresh loot run to try and maximise the amount of goodies that you can get within the Troves of the Thunder King. This is the first corridor with all the traps in. There are chests on the left hand side and also the right hand side, and you'll get the drift. If you've been here before, it'll all start to become a little bit more familiar. But let's get down to the crux of the fight while we're dealing with the trash. And the Council of Elders is made up of 4 different bosses, and they are Frost King Malik. We have Khazra-jin. I do like that name. Sounds like an alcoholic beverage. I could do with one right now. Plenty of coffee. We've also got Sol the Sandcrawler, and finally High Priestess Malik. But I fibbed myself as well, because it wasn't finally. Because these 4 council members have the help of an old friend, or really an old adversary. Because Gara'jal from Mogushan Vault, remember? Third boss, turned into a spirit, buggered off at the end of the fight. He's back. He's back, and he's going to possess these council members throughout the course of the fight. And when he does, it will empower them and make their abilities stronger. But once they've received 25% maximum health damage, then Gara'jal's spirit will bugger off outside of them, and it will find a new host. But when he does go, he leaves behind in that boss something called Lingering Presence. And Lingering Presence will increase the damage of that boss by 5%, and it will also increase their dark energy generation by 5% too. And this ability will stack. But whoa, you're saying right now, what are you going on about? Dark energies and stuff like that. Well, when Gara'jal possesses one of these bosses, they will grow considerably in size and disguise themselves as a shadow priest. They'll have that darkish glow about them. It's very, very easy to spot which one of the bosses has been possessed. So why should you fight one of the bosses that's possessed and not one of the other bosses? Why can't the tank just take care of it and we'll batter something else? Well, it's all about the dark energy and dark power, because when possessed it starts to build up dark energy, so you want to get it down by 25% of its maximum health ASAP and get the spirit out, because if the dark energy reaches 100 then that causes something called dark power, and if any of the council members reach that 100 dark energy and gain the dark power effect, then the whole raid will receive 5,500 shadow damage every single second, and every time it's cast it will increase the damage by a further 10%. So the longer an individual council member is possessed, the more and more damage the raid will take. So it's imperative that all the DPS focus their sole attention on the possessed target. Are we clear? Good, good, good. Because this is the final corridor before we hit the boss. So yes, this whole boss is built around the exact same environment of Troves of the Thunder King, and I personally think that's absolutely awesome. So after a little bit of rebuffing and food munching and possibly even a couple of whispers here and there, we start the encounter, and the first of the 4 council members to be possessed is Frost King Malik, and he has an ability called Frigid Assault. Now that to me sounds like you trying to pester your girlfriend for sex and she's just not having it and then she lashes out at you. That to me is a Frigid Assault. But apparently not. It's where Malik imbues his weapon with ice, and it will cause his melee attacks to inflict 41,250 frost damage. Now each melee attack will apply the Frigid Assault effect, and upon reaching 15 stacks the target will be stunned for 15 seconds. So tanks, make sure that you rotate your stacks. You don't want to get to 15 and get locked out of the game. That could cause some significant trouble. He's also got another ability called Biting Cold. Well, it will shroud a player in ice and deal 52,000 frost damage, and it'll apply the Biting Cold effect. And this effect will inflict 63,500 frost damage to all allies within 4 yards every 2 seconds for 30 seconds. So if you have it, make sure you haven't got other people around you. Just step away. As you can see, I'm afflicted with it at the moment. Now, while Malik is possessed, he'll gain another ability called Frostbite, but it's only usable while possessed. And this will shroud another player in ice. He shrouds a lot of players. Maybe he should have been an Undertaker. I don't know. But he shrouds another player in ice, and it inflicts 60,500 frost damage and afflicts them with 5 stacks of something called Frostbite. Now, Frostbite will inflict 12,000 frost damage per stack to all allies within 4 yards every second for 30 seconds. But don't run away. Make sure you do have people within 4 yards of you, because in Raid Finder 4 stacks of Frostbite are removed for each player within 4 yards, but it can't fall below 1 stack. So as long as you have somebody within 4 yards, you'll basically just inflict 12,000 frost damage with them over the course of 30 seconds. So nothing really for the healers to worry about. Move away, and that's when the trouble actually starts. The second boss to be possessed is Gara'jal, and thankfully he's only got a couple of abilities. One that he can use all the time, and the second one he can only use while possessed. Now, he does something called Reckless Charge, where he'll rush a random player's location. This will inflict 50,000 nature damage to all players in a line to that target, and also knock back all players within 5 yards when he reaches his destination. If he's possessed while he does the ability, he'll gain something called Overload. And this is where he becomes electrified and stuns himself for 20 seconds. But be careful, because he'll then start to reflect 25% of all the damage he takes back at the user as nature damage. But look, he's currently in overload at the moment. I'm firing off incinerates, I'm firing off chaos bolts, and I'm hardly taking any damage back at myself, so don't panic too hard. You can still go full throttle when he's in this effect. The third boss to become possessed is Sol the Sand Crawler, and this is where things can get a little bit wibbly wobbly, so do pay attention. First of all, he'll do something called a Sand Bolt. This is an interruptible spell, so if you've got the chance to do it, get it stopped. He'll hurl a bolt of sand at a random player's location, inflicting 90,750 nature damage to all players within 5 yards of that targeted location. He'll also do something called Quicksand. He'll summon a pool of quicksand at a random player's location again, affecting that target with the Entrapped ability. And we'll get onto Entrapped in a second, because the actual quicksand itself will inflict 76,000 nature damage every second to all players within 7 yards and cause those players to become ensnared. So what's Entrapped and what's ensnared? Well, every second that a player stood within the quicksand, they gain 1 stack of ensnared, and it will reduce their movement speed by 15% per stack. If you gain 5 stacks of ensnared, you will become entrapped, and this will root you to the ground for 30 seconds. That's the difference between ensnared and entrapped. But while Sol is actually possessed, he'll also gain the Sandstorm ability. Now, everybody in the raid will receive 22,000 nature damage every second for 8 seconds, and he'll also transform all the pools of quicksand on the ground into living sand. These living sands should become your top priority, and the reason why is because if they're not killed and then Sol does another sandstorm, it will heal all the alive living sands back up to maximum and also increase their damage by 100%, and this can stack. So if you leave them alone, you can cause all manner of difficulties. As soon as they pop up, get AoEing the crap out of them. When they die, they become pools of quicksand on the floor again. And this brings us on to the final boss, called High Priestess Malik. She'll do 4 abilities all in all. 2 while she isn't possessed, and a further 2 while she is possessed. First one's called Wrath of Lower. It's an interruptible spell again, so if you can, do. This will strike a player for 76,000 holy damage. Warlock, she only does holy and shadow damage in this phase, so make sure, if you're smarter than me, to get your ward up. She'll also do something called Blessed Lower Spirit. She'll summon a spirit into the fight that will attempt to move to the boss with the lowest HP and heal them for 5% of their maximum health if it isn't killed. But still, if it's active after 20 seconds, it will immediately jump to that target's location and heal them for 5% anyway, so get onto it quickly. While she is possessed, the Wrath of Lower suddenly turns itself into a shadow damage based spell, inflicting 91,000 damage to its target. Again though, it still remains interruptible. She'll also get this shadowed lower spirit into the fight, and this will target a random player and attempt to get to them. It will fixate onto them. If it gets within 6 yards, they will die instantly. But if it isn't killed after 20 seconds, just like the Blessed Spirit, it will jump to the target's location and kill them too. So while I've been waffling on, we've killed the bosses. I've actually had a really good haul of loot today. I got loot off the first, second and third bosses, but I'll have to work out what needs to stay and what needs to go. But that is the Council of Elders, and that is the first wing of Raid Finder complete. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Please do like, comment and subscribe to my channel. Follow me on Twitter and also like my Facebook. And while I try on my goodies, my god, I look a mess. I'll be back with some more stuff very soon. You take care, everybody. Look, I'm hiding in the bushes. I'm hiding in the bushes. Can you see me? Yeah, okay. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.